In this video, I'm gonna be giving you 3 years of social skills advice that you can apply today to start living your dream life socially. First, I want you to imagine your dream life. What is it like? Think about the girlfriend that you're gonna have. What does she look like? What is her hair color? What is her eye color? What does her face look like? What is her ethnicity? Where is she from? How tall is she? How does she behave? Is she supportive of your dreams? And now think about that. That is your dream girlfriend. I want you to imagine your social circle, the guys that you're surrounded by. Are they masculine? Are they in the gym? Are they pursuing their dreams as well? Do they support you in your path of whatever it is that you're doing? What activities do you guys do together? And now this is your social circle. This is the social life you developed for yourself, and you have everything you want, all because you applied the advice I'm gonna give you in this video. So about 3 years ago, I decided to embark on a social journey, being that the first 19 years of my life, I felt that I missed out. I was super shy and introverted, and to give you an example of how bad it was, when I was 19 years old, I moved to Florida. I had no friends at this point, and for months, I didn't really know what to do, being that I only had my high school friends growing up, and I didn't really push myself socially at all. I was super shy and insecure, and eventually one day, I decided to go to an 18+ club. I decided the night before, and the following day, I had so much anxiety that day to the point where I actually threw up before I went out. I was just so scared. I'd never really been social. I'd never really done anything alone, and I was terrified to go there. And now, 3 years later, the last 5 months I've been in Sweden, and since I'm a little bit more financially free now, I travel to different cities. I meet beautiful girls all over the country of Sweden. I talk to really cool guys. I have amazing conversations. I'm super comfortable socially, and I really get to live the life of my dreams, all because I started pushing myself 3 years ago and expanding my comfort zone. So I'm gonna be giving you the 3 biggest pieces of advice that made a difference in my life. So the first one's going to be overcoming social anxiety. If you're watching this video right now, it's probably because you don't have the life of your dreams socially, let's be real. You wouldn't be watching a social skills advice video if you had everything that you ever wanted socially. So the biggest thing holding most people back is gonna be social anxiety. And I want you to just completely dismiss it. And the best way to do this is really just gonna be doing the thing that makes you the most scared and realizing that nothing bad comes from it. So the best way to do this is gonna be, for most guys, cold approaching girls. After cold approaching about 100 girls sober, whether I was at the gym, the beach, or wherever I was, that really just killed that social anxiety for me. On top of probably, at this point, thousands of girls at bars and clubs. I talk to sometimes 10, 15, 20 girls a night when I go out. So I've been super social, and I can tell you that everything you're feeling right now, it is all imaginary, it is all in your head. Nobody actually cares about you, and this is a blessing and a curse. Because if you do something bad and it doesn't go the way you expected, no one cares about you. And in that regard, where it's like they don't care, they're gonna forget. These girls have so many things in their mind, they're so wrapped up, they have so much attention and validation, they don't care about some guy that came and talked to them. If it went bad, it was probably 10, 15 seconds. They've moved on within an additional 3 seconds. The only person that's gonna remember this and the only place that it's gonna live on is in your mind. So the sooner you can just forget about that and move on, the better it is for you. But on the other hand, if you can be the person that you want to be, you can start being charismatic, funny, you can break out of your comfort zone and go after the things you want. People will start caring about you, and you'll start making a difference and an impact on the world around you. People will want to be your friend. They're going to want to start surrounding them with you. So it all comes down to you, and you really have nothing to lose and everything to gain. I can tell you all these cold approaches, 90% of them went really well, where it was just like, I went up, I had a brief conversation anywhere from a couple of minutes to very long, especially the sober ones. They're pretty usually on the quicker side, but they were still great conversations. I talked to so many girls at the beach. At my peak, when I was really pushing myself to do this, I would end up just like joining football games or going and sitting with some girls at their towel, hanging out with them. And it feels really good to realize that you can influence the world around you, that you don't have to be stuck in this shell that you think you're in. And it's just gonna come from pushing yourself. That's really the only way to do this, is to break those limiting beliefs, is by just having the experiences, pushing yourself no matter how you feel. I can tell you, time and time again, I actually was terrified to go and do those things, even as I was getting more social, even after I'd started sleeping like with a bunch of girls. I had this phase where I went to Sweden. I slept with like 7 girls, and I really built up my confidence. Coming from that was after that phase where like I threw up. I had pretty much only like 2 or 3 girls I'd been with at that point. I built up my confidence, went to Sweden, slept with all these girls, was back in Florida, and still getting that anxiety when I would go and do cold approaches on the beach, completely sober, things like that. But you push through it, and eventually it doesn't even become a thing anymore for you. It's just like, oh, there's a girl, let me go say hi. That's how you want it to be eventually, and it will get there. You just have to keep pushing yourself. So the biggest thing you need to do is just overcome that social anxiety, and the best way I know how is just by pushing your comfort zone until it's no longer uncomfortable. It sounds harsh, but the harshest things are gonna get you the best results. Now, the next thing is gonna be taking action. So you need to realize that nothing is just gonna happen to you. There's very few times in my life where a girl's reached out to me. It's just been very, very infrequent where girls just came to me, and if I was in that situation where girls could approach me, most of the time it was somewhere where I had to be social in the first place. And like maybe a handful of times I can remember, I was approached by girls. Besides that, 98% of the time, I had to go and influence the world around me. I had to go up to the girls and approach them. I had to go and start the conversations with even just guys, anyone I talk to. I'm usually the one who initiates the conversation. So you have to take action. You have to bend and influence the world around you. If you're not doing this, you're gonna have a very difficult time, and your progression is gonna be extremely slow getting social. So what I'd recommend is if you're at home, there's nothing really to do, but when you go out, for example, if you're going out, I had to go out so many times by myself. I still do when I go to these foreign countries. The night starts the second you go out. So when you're in line, you should be chatting with everyone in line. You should have 10 friends by the time you get into the club. So when I'm in the line, I meet like everyone around me. Everyone around me knows who I am by the time I get in. I'm like, hey, what's your name? What are you doing? Where'd you come from? Whatever, I don't know. Just chatting. You don't have to make it complicated. If you just simply initiate conversation and talk to people, you'd be surprised how well these conversations can go. So by the time I get into the club, I've usually got like 5-10 friends. You're standing there with these people, might as well talk to them. And the same goes for everywhere you go, but going to the bars and clubs is gonna be probably the easiest way to break out of your shell, being that there's usually alcohol involved. Everyone's a bit looser and friendly, so you can just chat with a ton of people, and then you can apply this to your sober life as well, wherever you go. But that's my thing, is I always talk to everyone, no matter where I am. If I'm on the train, I'm still chatting with people. If I'm waiting for the train, I'll go and say hi to someone. I actually have a funny story. I met this guy in Sweden at the train station. So we lived in the same city, and we would always go up to the bigger city. And I would see him there on a Friday or Saturday night all the time, and we would always just be chatting on the way up. We'd end up riding the train at the same seats, talking about girls, this and that, all because I just was like, hey bro, where are you headed tonight? And that's how it goes. And all of a sudden you start having all these friends in so many different places, and you start getting to know people, and you really start getting everything you want out of life. But you gotta realize that it's only gonna happen if you take action. And now the third one is becoming a people magnet. So this is the thing that's really gonna change everything for you, is when you start self-developing. See, one of the things I've noticed over time is the more of an inspiring person you become, the easier this is. So, for example, if you're in great shape, if you look really fresh, like you take care of your face, your hair, your style, and you're in great shape, and you're always working on yourself, you're working on your business, you're reading, you're developing your mind in every way, shape, and form, you are gonna become a people magnet. See, the reason why I'm able to date girls that are so much older than I am, like, for example, I was with a 28-year-old when I was in Sweden, is because of me doing all this self-development. She wouldn't have been interested in some 22-year-old who's just kind of mindless, and maybe he can talk to a few people and be a little social. But if I wasn't doing all the things I was doing, she really wouldn't have been interested in me, because I'm not a man of substance. I genuinely believe I'm light years ahead of the competition and of my age because of what I've done the last 3 years. I've genuinely put so much energy into myself and the universe, just reading so many books, meditating, developing my mind to a level that most adults will never even accomplish in their lifetime. So these are the things that you can do to truly become an inspiring person. And everyone you meet, you try and change their life and influence them in some positive way. You share knowledge and you just become an inspiring person. And I'm not saying you gotta go out and lecture people, because don't do that. But just being someone who is very influential and confident, opinionated, believing in yourself and sharing your knowledge and experiences with people in a positive, charismatic way, trying to also bring them up as well. These are some of the things you'll learn with sales and some of the things that I've learned over the years. But if you speak to people's dreams while sharing your own stories, telling them how they could improve, do different things, if you find out what their goals are and give them advice on how to get there quicker, people are going to really look up to and be inspired by you. And this is one of the ways you can be a people magnet, but it all starts by you developing yourself. And this is something you have to do aside from the social realm. This has to be something where, for example, in the mornings, I read for about 45 minutes to an hour, I do 10 minutes of meditation, and I write 3 to 5 things that I'm grateful for. This takes me about a total of like an hour to hour and a half before I ever turn on my phone and start my day, start working. So those are some of the things I do all for myself to develop as a person, and this shows in the character that you become. And that's one of the most important things you can do, is really develop yourself, and this whole social journey is going to be accelerated a ton. A lot of the books you read are going to give you so much social wisdom as well, so you're just going to be realizing things that you would have had to learn the hard way. You're going to be realizing them quicker, actually being able to test and apply them in real life as you're reading about them, and it's going to speed up this whole journey for you. So those are the 3 steps. It's going to be overcoming the fear of social anxiety by doing the things that scares you the most, taking action, because otherwise this process is going to be super slow. Like, imagine you go to the club and you just stood there and you didn't talk to anybody. You might get talked to once or twice a month, but you're not going to get anywhere near as quickly as you want to get to your goals. So you need to take action. You need to influence the world around you. You need to start the conversations. And lastly, you want to self-develop, and this is going to allow you to really become a people magnet and be someone who's inspiring, who people really want to be around. And if you do all these things, I promise you, in a very short period of time, it may be weeks, it may be months, it may be years, depending on where you're at currently, you will have the life of your dreams, and you will have what we described earlier. You're going to have the girlfriend of your dreams. You're going to have the social circle, all because you put the hard work in and did the steps that no one else was willing to do. So that is all for this video. If this provides you with any value, go ahead and subscribe down below and leave a comment down below which one of these 3 steps you need to work on the most. And if you're going to actually start applying it, I would love to hear about it. All right, that's all for today. See you guys in the next video.